All right. So if you're looking for a night of fun, then head on over to the Soho Playhouse tomorrow through Sunday. Yeah, to catch comedian Abby Govindan. Talk about her parents and embarrass them as well.
Of course. So her debut off-Broadway show, How to Embarrass Your Immigrant Parents, is a raw and funny look at bridging the gap between love and cultural differences. Take a look.
My entire family, they didn't understand why I would break up with someone who was so handsome, who had such a high-paying job. And I said, well, guys, he's not romantic, okay? He doesn't plan dates. And I'd like to think I'm being revolutionary, like teaching them about romantic love and feminism. I'd like to think I'm like being like Mahatma Gandhi. But I feel like my family sees me as more of like a Jada Pinkett Smith figure. It's breaking generational curses because like my grandma was telling me the story of how her and my grandpa met, and suddenly I was pulling out my phone and Googling things like Statute of Limitations India. Can you report a crime from 1942? Can you report a crime in India if you live in America?
That's awesome.
We're already giggling.
Please welcome right now to the show, Abby Govindan to New York Living. Abby, welcome.
Hi, it's so exciting to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. We're bonding about Deli Boys, a popular new show.
It's so good.
Immigrant show on Hulu right now.
It's so
Need
good.
to watch.
I love it.
Adding it to the watch list.
So, how to embarrass your parent, your immigrant parents at that. Is it fairly easy to do so?
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy. I mean, my parents grew up in a completely different culture, and I feel like they have so much more shame than I do, so it's so easy to just make them uncomfortable by doing the simplest of things.
Well, I love it. You grew up in Texas. What was it like being an Indian American in Texas?
You know, I get this question fairly often. I don't think people are aware that Texas is like half Indian. Like there's so many Indian people in Texas. So my mom, she did her residency in Staten Island here. And after she finished her residency, she's a physician, she was offered some jobs in hospitals in Ohio and New York. And she turned it down because she was like, I don't want to deal with the cold weather. So we immigrated, or we didn't immigrate. We were already in the United States, but we moved to Houston. And then once we got there, we found this gigantic community of other South Indian people who also moved to Texas because they didn't want to deal with the cold weather anywhere else in the United States.
Fair.
So you started your stand-up comedy, I find this interesting, in the midst of depression. So how did the humor kind of help with your mental health?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking. I think that then and now, in my saddest moments, the thing that grounded me the most was getting on stage and making people laugh and connecting with people and finding a way to find common ground with people. And there's no better feeling than when you say a setup and you lead up to the punchline and you say the punchline and you feel the entire room just like be uproarious with laughter.
Yeah, what happens when there's crickets? What do you do then?
That doesn't happen to you, right?
Every single comedian has bombed. Recently, actually, a few weeks ago, a famous comedian invited me to open for him here in New York. And I know I'm good. Like, I'm a young comedian. I do this full time, which is very rare, especially for an Indian woman. But I also would be delusional if I didn't accept that I have so much further to go in my comedy journey and so much more to learn. And this comedian, it was clear that his audience didn't like me. I was not doing well. I wasn't bombing, but I wasn't doing as well as I was used to doing. And I walked off stage. I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh my God, like, this is terrible. I'm terrible. I need to quit. And then he walked on stage, and within 5 seconds, the audience was eating out of the palm of his hand. And the shame from not doing well immediately changed into drive and hunger. I was like, I can't be as good as him until I've done this 5, 10, 12 years longer.
Do the homework.
And yeah, like just the experience of doing poorly is just an opportunity to learn from your mistakes and learn how to be an even better comedian.
It's a great way.
Yeah. So you actually went viral on Twitter. That's how you kind of got started after pretending to be the producer of Emily in Paris?
Yeah, the creator of Emily in Paris,
Creator of Emily in Paris.
Not just producer, creator.
Not just, whole thing. How did that change your career?
so insane. It upended my life. So many production companies, famous comedians, famous actors that I'd looked up to my whole life, they reached out to me and we scheduled calls and they said some version of the same thing, which was, we love what you're trying to do, we love what you're trying to say, we love your voice, and we want to help you increase your platform so that you can say it to more people.
Yeah.
And I was so young when it happened.
20?
I wasn't 20, I was 22.
22, okay.
It was a few years ago, but I think it was the first time that my parents saw that this stand-up comedy dream wasn't just a pipe dream tucked away in the corner of my childhood bedroom. It was like a very tangible, plausible reality that I could make a living saying punchlines that people resonated with and like paid to come see and enjoy.
I could just imagine your parents' reaction when they realize that Hasan Minhaj knows who you are. So your show is presented by Hasan.
Yeah.
How did you guys get to meet?
Oh my God, I am the luckiest comedian in the world. So I interned at Full Frontal with Samantha Bee in 2018, and this was around the time that Patriot Act with Hasan Minhaj had debuted, and it was right across the street. It was in this neighborhood, actually.
Yeah.
And they heard me around the office talking about how much I look up to Hasan and how he's so cool. And Alana Harkin, the head correspondent at Samantha Bee, was like, you know, Sam and Hasan work together at The Daily Show, you know, they're friends. And I was like, of course I know that. I'm a huge fan of both of them. And Alana was like, we could probably pretty easily get you a meeting with him. And so...
so you met him, what it was like?
It was so cool. He just sat down with me for an hour, answered all the questions I had.
Oh my goodness.
And then he said, I'm a resource. If you ever need anything, reach out. And then the pandemic happened, of course. And then once the pandemic lifted a little bit, he was touring with his second hour. So I reached out to his team. I was living at home in Houston with my parents. And I was like, hey, can I open for him in Houston when he comes? And they were like, sounds good, see you there.
Wow.
So it's as easy as that. So the rest of us will just call Hasan.
Put in a phone call.
But then I responded to his team. I was like, do you guys want to see a video? And they were like, no, see you in Houston.
They just
like,
trusted you.
I was like, 11,000 people? They should not have trusted me. I was like 23. I barely had like 3 years of comedy under my belt.
Well, what a great way, though.
It changed my life.
And it's great to know that he looks back like that. Thank you so much.
I mean, every comedian who's worked with him has an insanely positive story about him.
Awesome.
He's just so kind.
So really quickly, how can people get tickets?
AbbyGovindan.com/off-Broadway.
Okay.
Yeah.